Hey guys, I'm back in my humble little office and I've missed this place so much. It's not easy to come back here because of all this pandemic and all this lockdown. It's affecting a lot of people's business and it's a really big struggle to decide whether I should go out and work and risk myself and my family or I should just stay at home. So times are really difficult, but I'm trying to stay positive to brave through all this. So if you've been following me for quite a while, recently I launched my documentary brand called Archive. And I've also posted my first documentary that me and my team back then have worked really hard on. I launched it right on Chinese New Year Eve because the documentary is about the craft of making lion dance and the man himself who is behind it. So if you haven't watched it, do check it out. The link will be right in the description below. So today I'm really excited because there is this new camera that I really love, and I'm not the kind of person who will love every camera that gets launched out there, even though the specs are like, next level kind of thing. But this camera, the moment it was announced, I knew it was the one that I really wanted because of many things that I wanted in the C200 is in this camera. And that camera is the Canon C70. So again, like all my previous reviews, I'm not going to talk about all the specs because you can find all that information online pretty easily. First impression that I had is this handle is not doing its justice, I would say. I mean, the hot shoe on top here is pretty okay. It would be great if there's some hot shoe here or a screw mount, or even on the front here, a hot shoe or a screw mount. It's pretty weird, and based on what I see out there, a lot of people basically just remove this hot shoe. And yeah, this material is not great, but it does the job. It's pretty handy over here. I would prefer to remove it. Just the body alone, I mean, this is really amazing. It's a cinema camera with this body size. It's even smaller than a 1DX, I would assume. I mean, I don't have a 1DX with me or a 1DC, but it's pretty small. And this is my 5D Mark III with what do you call this again? I think 1DC is slightly ever bigger than this, and you can see the difference in the height alone. There's quite a big gap over there. And if you look at the side here, the Canon C70 is pretty damn thick. And it has its own flip screen over here. You can turn it all the way or the other way. And the best part about this is most camera that I know with the flip screen, the back is empty and the space is kind of wasted. But Canon has made this useful and turned it into like an audio adjustment area. So that is really very cool and a very innovative way to make use of a space that is wasted. And I mean, if you don't want to control all this, you can always just flip it back and the monitor will be here. And if you are using C200, you can use back the same battery, the BPA30, and the size is just nice over here. Some of the things that really caught my attention was the mini XLR input on the sides here. It's not something that I'm really keen on. It means that I have to buy an adapter for my XLR, full-size XLR cables, or I just have to find a cable that will, fit both ends and I don't have to use adapters. But then again, I'm optimistic about this. I think it is a good move because XLR technology has been there for quite a long time, and mini XLR is no different and it's smaller. And if this is the way the technology is moving forward to, I'm all for it because anything small is better. This C70's form factor is small and it's something that I really wanted on my cinema camera. I mean, like I mentioned in my Canon R5 review video, C200 is a really great camera, but one of the things that really hindered me as a filmmaker is the size. If you get a big camera, means the rig has to be bigger, the tripod has to be bigger, the slider has to be able to carry the weight, the gimbal has to be stronger, and all this, makes things a little bit difficult and kind of forces me to be a handheld filmmaker. But the Canon C70 is so small, packed with all the power of C200 and C300. It has all the buttons that I would ever need from my C200. It has quite a lot of buttons on this side, on the grip side over here. Some of the weird things is the mount down here. It's not majorly bad, it's just that you have to live with it. It's not like it would destroy your filmmaking, you just have to live with it. And I think it do help having the screw mounts on the side here, because if you're going to mount it on a gimbal, then at least you can, you know, put it on the left or right. And if I'm going to put it on my Edelkrone, yeah, this will give more space for me to mount. This does miss out a few things from the C200. This is from my perspective. It's probably different from every other people. Number one would be the SDI. It has a BNC timecode input over here, but it's not something that I really need. But then again, if I'm going to work with big movie crews in the future, who knows, hopefully, this will be something that is really important. But full HDMI is totally fine for me. I mean, most of the time I would use HDMI because it carries audio together and it helps with the monitoring. And the other thing would be the grip. I mean, this grip is very similar to a normal DSLR or a mirrorless camera. We can't, you know, shift it like most of the cinema cameras, but in my C200 I can shift it around. This one I can't. I'm okay. It's not something that I would die for. I love how C200's grip can be moved left and right, and I use the Condor's what you call that? I don't remember what it's called, but I use the Condor's to move the grip around, and it makes filmmaking quite fun. So some of the things that I really like about this is the flip screen, which is very similar to the EOS R. It would be great if I can take it off, you know, and put it on top here, because I'm the kind of guy who likes to shoot this way, you know, looking down this way. But I mean, I can't be that greedy asking for everything. And the other thing is there is auto ISO inside. And auto ISO is something that I've wanted on the C200, but C200 doesn't have it, which is pretty weird to me. But then again, it's just the way Canon does it. The battery for the Canon C70 is something that I like as well, because I already have two very powerful ones. And 2 BPA batteries is already very sufficient for my filmmaking, and C70 also uses it. I saw from one of the test videos that's been done out there that the BPA 30 or 60 lasts longer on the C70. Another thing that I really liked about this is that the SD card, there's dual slot over here, but you have to use an SD card that is at least 300 megabits per second. Otherwise, you won't be able to. It's not that you won't be able to use, but there is a buffer limit, or there's a buffer cap whenever you use an SD card. There's, you know, with a lower read and write speed. So 300 is the recommended one, and if I do get one of this C70, I will have to buy a 300 megabit, because the one I have now is only 170. One of the struggles as a filmmaker is that, you know, when I go out shooting, I do want to get the best quality and the best image possible. But living in Malaysia, we have to consider a lot of things, like getting robbed. Bringing a big camera around definitely attracts a lot of attention, and if someone just, you know, come and snatch it away from me, then I potentially lose a 30,000 ringgit camera. But then again, I would not go out and shoot with the C200 alone, because I don't dare to. And if I really need to use a C200 to go out there and shoot, I would normally have crews with me, so that, you know, I'm not alone, and at least, you know, I'm getting protected. This form factor would easily allow me to go out there and shoot without having to worry too much. It does get quite a bit of attention, but to a layman's eye, I don't think people would think like this is a really expensive camera, because it kind of looks like a normal DSLR. It's just that it's a little bit fatter on the back. So is there any negative point about the Canon C70? I would love to say no, but there is definitely one or two. First one is the focusing issue. I think it's something that can be solved with a firmware. I believe it is. I hope it is. But the focusing issue is pretty weird, because basically anything that is slightly underexposed or a flat surface that has not much detail in it, the camera will go into a focus hunting mode where you shift back and forth until it finds something detailed over there. I think this can be solved with firmware, and I hope Canon will release it soon. The other thing that I don't like is this dial that's right behind here, right above the button 9. This dial here is pretty weird because the way I hold it, that dial there is almost in the way. Even the button number 9 is there, but I don't press the number 9, which is pretty okay. But the problem is that just moving a little will hinder that, and it's pretty loose. This joystick button is a little difficult to use, but then again this is a demo product, so I'm not too sure. It could be a lot easier on the proper one. The joystick is the direction is a bit difficult. Even though you push it quite hard, sometimes it doesn't register it. But then again, probably it's just something that I need to get used to. Correct me if I'm wrong, if anyone is using the Canon C70 out there. Another weird thing that I find is that I can't configure either of the dial on the top here or on the back here, or even this rotating dial, I don't know what you call this, or even this one, to shutter speed. I can't change it. I actually have to go into the touchscreen here, enable the touchscreen, go to shutter and move it from there. I don't know, is that normal? I don't think it is, because my C200 can obviously do that. Again, I think this can be fixed with the firmware, and I hope Canon will release the firmware soon. Probably when I release this video, I'm not too sure. But as of this video, this firmware there's no new firmware for this, it's just the fresh out of the boat kind. And this is Canon's first cinema camera with the RF mount. So even if you don't have a lot of RF lenses to play along with, they also came out with this. Essentially, we would call it a speed booster, but Canon doesn't call it speed booster, they call it the Canon mount adapter EOS EF to EOS R 0.71x. I think speed booster is trademarked by Metabones, so probably they can't use the name. But then again, I've also tried this, and this is really amazing. So the Canon mount adapter actually turns the Canon C70 into a pretty much a full frame. So if you have the Canon EF 24 to 105 f4, the speed booster essentially turns it into let's see, a 17 to 75 mm on the Super 35 with the speed boost. Okay, they don't call it speed booster, they call it the 0.71. But for this video, I'm just going to call it the speed booster because it's kind of mouthful. Anyway, so yeah, with the speed booster, you essentially got a 17 mm to a 75 mm with f2.8. So basically, kind of turns the sensor into a full frame. But for my little test, the speed booster does not work well with the Sigma 1835 art lens. And that famous lens works well on my C200. I can't take it out right now because it's over there. But if you use that on this, you will get all the vignette all around the lens. But you can still use the 35 mm for f1.2, I think. Even with the EF lens or even with the RF lens, the focus issue is still there. It just hunts the focus like mad. As of now, this adapter doesn't work with the EOS R. I don't have the R5 with me, so I can't test it out. But it doesn't work with the EOS R, I think mainly because it needs a firmware update on both the EOS R and this mount. It does change the lens into a fuller frame. Don't know what you call it because it's already a full frame on the EOS R. But the aperture does not get wider, if you get my point. So basically, if you do get the 24-105 f4 and it becomes a f2.8 on the C70, the f4 does not turn into a f2.8 on the EOS R. And EOS R is already a full frame, so yeah. And the question about the speed booster of changing the f4 to f2.8, whether it really make the bokeh bigger or make it more blurry and all that. In my honest opinion, I don't think that it actually changes the size of the bokeh or even changes the depth of focus or the focus range and all that. But it does allow more light in. So your ISO setting or your shutter setting might change to compensate to that f2.8. But whether the bokeh gets bigger and all that, I honestly don't think so. I think it's pretty much the same. I mean, if you're on f4 and if you're on f2.8 because of the speed booster, I don't think the bokeh will get bigger. If you're planning to get this and to combo with your EOS R, just note, as of currently, as of this video's recording on the 20th February 2021, the mount adapter does not work with your EOS R. Just bear that in mind, and it probably won't work with the R5 as well. I'm guessing there needs to be a firmware update on both ends, on the body and the mount adapter. My EOS R is currently on the latest 1.8.0 or something like that. Basically the latest firmware. So yeah, just bear that in mind if you're thinking about getting this combo, because I was also thinking about getting that combo to make it work for my stuff. So just in case you're wondering, the shutter doesn't have a protector like the EOS R or the R5, but yeah, it's an RF mount and that's pretty damn cool. So the new stuff on this touchscreen, besides moving the focus, which is already existing in the C200, is the capability to change the color temperature, the built-in ND. Oh yes, there is a built-in ND in this body size. I mean, like, come on. And then there is the f-stop, which I accidentally moved again with this tiny dial over here. There is the ISO and the shutter speed, and there's every other function that is available for you to move around, like focus guide, picking, waveform, and etc. You can also change some of the configuration on your camera. Example, the sensor mode, which is basically either Super 35 or Super 16, which is a crop. Or you can change your recording mode into a slow and fast motion, SNF, and all that. So this touchscreen is pretty great, where they allow you to change all the main recording format and all the C-Log and all that. I would prefer, rather than a black background, it would be best if we can see what the camera is actually looking at. And if I can change the C-Log to C-Log 2 or any other profiles, then it would be great if we can see what the camera is actually looking at, or the difference when I'm changing it. All the main recording resolutions, all there, everything can be changed from here, which is great. And yeah, and you can even change your sub recording format, your proxy recording and all that. The fan does sound a little bit louder than the C200, but I assume they are pretty much the same. I feel my Canon C200 is actually hotter than this one, but maybe that's because I didn't crank this enough. But I would really love to get one of this. This will really make filmmaking a lot better. There is one of the things that I really wanted on the C200, but it's not there, and I'm pretty okay with it, and that is the image stabilizer. This image stabilizer here is a digital one, it's not a sensor mechanical one. Another thing about this is that the turn on and off power over here, the camera startups pretty damn fast, and I mean the C200 startups really very slow. And I know some cinema cameras startups much slower, but this C70 startups really fast, and that's just about 3 seconds, 2 to 3 seconds. So I think 3 seconds. But yeah, this is really very nice. The idea of Canon allowing you to shoot portrait mode like this, because they give you a mount here and you can shoot like this. I think that is great. We as filmmakers or content creators, we have to adapt to what the market needs or would like to see. If you're a filmmaker and you think that portrait video is the sin of the world kind of thing, well, I got to tell you that is probably a very bad mindset. We have to move along with the market. We have to move along with the technology. And I'm glad that Canon actually thought of this portrait video for us, because some of the clients just want portrait video for their brands, and this makes it a lot more efficient for us. It also makes it fun for us, but definitely more efficient. So would I buy a Canon C70? The answer is yes, 100% yes, because I love this camera and it's something that I've been always wanting. All the things that I wanted on the C200 is on this. I didn't want to get the C300 because of its size. I didn't want to get the C500 because of its size and the price. So C70's price is just right for me. The form factor is perfect for me. It's not too big, it's not too small. All the image quality is over there. Just probably just needs a firmware update on some of the issues that's currently having. If I do get a chance, I will most likely invest on this. Whether I would need to sell off my C200 to get this, or maybe just getting this as my second camera so that I have 3 cameras that I can run on commercial jobs. So let me know if you love the Canon C70 or if you have any hates on it. I don't know. I can't find any hates on this, but if you have a different opinion on why the C70 doesn't work for you, please share it with me on the comment, because I would really want to know why it doesn't work for someone out there. I don't think this is actually a replacement of the C200, but I do believe this is a replacement of the C100. C100 has been in the market for ages and they have not updated it. It doesn't even have 4K inside. So this is a very good replacement for the C100. So that's all for my Canon C70 review. If you love this video, do subscribe, give me a like, or drop a comment down below, because those really help me. So if you'd like to support me one way or another, you can use my Buy Me a Coffee link right below, or you can use one of the affiliate links I have in the description. That would really help me and I would really appreciate it. So that's about it. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, I really thank you, because not many people watch all of my video. I think, if I'm not mistaken, 92% of my viewerships are unsubscribed people or unknown people, and I'm okay with that, but it would be great if I know most of them. And I know 30 to 40% of the viewers are from America. Hi, I mean, that's great. But the rest, there's only 20% from Malaysia and the rest is just unknown. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys the next time.